Okay, welcome everyone. We've got a couple of questions that have already come in. So we'll go through those first.
Go through them at the end. Let's get people talking first.
No, let's go through the questions first, and then we'll go through any other questions. So Amy, she's on the call, which is awesome. So her question was, how should you pace a marathon? Do you start out at your target race pace or ease into it? So this is a great question. And actually, we're going to be recording this week's podcast on how to pace your race this week. So this will be a good warm up for us. James, what are your thoughts of pacing a marathon?
Well, I was just about to say, Tim and I were having this conversation over message last week, and we decided that no discipline racing was the best way to go.
Heard it here first.
Going off fast, going ballsy, and it never working.
It doesn't work.
No, we're joking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think you can, with a 5K, you can throw caution at the wind, even like up to half marathon. You can kind of,
edge your bets now.
yeah, you can err on a bit of a faster side. On a marathon, there's just no point, in a marathon, in the first 10 miles, you should feel amazing. You've tapered, your legs are feeling fresh, you've got the adrenaline going, you've got the crowd, you've got the atmosphere. But the best way to pace a marathon is probably starting off a touch slower than your target race pace and building your way into it.
I think the best way to do a marathon, and potentially a half marathon as well, is to split it into the 3 Rs, which are relax, rhythm, and race. And they split quite equally into 10, 10, and 10. Obviously, the last 10 being K, not miles. So you're going to relax for 10 miles, which means you're going to be in control. You're not going to be overthinking anything. If anything, you're just going to let these miles tick by, almost to the point where you get bored. The second 10 miles, which is the meat of your race, that's where you've got to find your rhythm, and that's probably on your pace or your target pace or effort. And that sets you up nicely for the last 10K, which is the final R, which is when we race. So it's relax, rhythm, and race. If you can execute your marathon like that, you will enjoy the race at the end.
Amy, so what is your do you mind sharing your I think I know your target pace or your target.
I'm writing notes. Thank you. I it's only my second proper marathon, and last year I really found the last 5K really, 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 really hard. So I just wanted I obviously have a target in time. I hope for 3:35, something around there. But I just want to finish it feeling like I felt finishing the Milton Keynes 20 miles a few weeks ago, and I felt so good. So yeah.
I think a really important thing as well to remember, which is hard for all of us, when you have a pace and you have a target pace, have some faith in yourself. So, for example, 3:35 is 8:12 a mile. That doesn't mean 8:11, 8:10, 8:09, 8:08. That doesn't mean 8:13 or 8:14 is a failure. Because believe it or not, again, going back to the 3 Rs, if you lose 2 or 3 seconds in the first 10 miles per mile, you're going to be 20, 30 seconds behind, and you can make that up. Have faith in your second half self. However, you start sneaking 30, 40, 50 seconds ahead after 10 miles, you're not doing yourself any favors. And those are the decisions that we regret later on. So actually being really secure in your own ability and having faith in yourself for those first few miles are really important. And yeah, just we see it in training as well. If I set someone a pace, or Kate sets someone a pace or a target, automatically as athletes, we feel that we should beat it. And actually the target is the target, not to be below it.
Amy, based on looking at your training, I personally think that you're capable of sub 3:30. I don't coach Amy, but I've watched her training very closely. She posts a lot online about her training. So I was in my head, I had for you, like James has just said, 3:35 is 8:12. I was thinking, you should take the first 10 miles at around 8 to 8:10 pace, then in the second 10 miles, you know, you could aim for that 8 to 7:55 kind of bracket, and then you've put yourself in a position in the last 10k, you know, especially with some of the training runs you've done, you could be then running in the 7:40s for that last 10k, feeling amazing because you've paced it really well, and the training that you've done would hopefully allow you to do that. So I definitely think, like James said, the 3 Rs and the 3:10s, that's how we try and get people to do it, is like 10 miles, 10 miles, 10k. And I think that would set you up for a really good day, personally.
Thank you. That's really great advice. I'm sorry I haven't got my camera on. I've just had a bath. I look awful.
That's all right, don't worry.
I think it is about having faith in yourself. The second half, it's that scary thing where, and James, that when I'm doing my training runs, I probably am running too fast sometimes. I don't know, but it's about having faith in that second half, isn't it?
And belief in the first half, and
Yeah.
don't doubt yourself. You've got in with a game plan. You've done these months of training, so don't in the first 10 miles make silly decisions like, oh, this feels all right. I know it's 10 seconds too quick a mile, but I'm all right, because you can't get it back once it starts getting
Amy, I don't think you've trained too fast, because you take your easy runs really easy. You've hit the sessions hard. When you've had like long runs with stuff in, you've executed it all perfectly. You've done so much strength training. So I think you just need to have faith in everything you've done, and hopefully now with the taper. I know that Naomi probably wants to jump in, and I feel like she's probably gonna give you some great solid advice based on her experience. So Naomi, I'll pass the floor over to you.
Yeah, I was going to come in there probably because it sounds like the conversations I've been having with Katie over the last like 4 weeks or so, trying to kind of build and like confidence of marathon strategy, but also reflecting on kind of what I ran at Geneva and probably similar targets. But I think my advice kind of is like, and I say advice because I'm trying to like say this to myself as well for this year for London, but advice and how I ran Geneva last year was I started out slower than I finished. Last year at Geneva, I ran like the best marathon pacing I've ever run. And I finished in 3:21. I was aiming like you for a 3:30, but I started out at like 8-minute miling and then went from there. So don't be afraid to just start out more conservative than you think, because actually you can build and you get those seconds back and then they build and build. And I also focused on 5k times as opposed to necessarily each mile time. And did kind of my maths around there. So I was a lot occupied through those like 3.5 hours of doing maths, but starting out slower and building and kind of just like clicking those first few miles off, working out kind of the 5k time that I wanted to hit. And then by the time I was getting towards the end and speeding up and feeling strong still because I'd started out slower. So practice what I preach. This is what I'm aiming to do in London as well. But advice, kind of start out slower and don't worry if kind of the pace isn't exactly what you think your target pace is.
I'm looking at Naomi's splits now, and like the first 8 miles were all like 8-minute miles. And then when we look past, these are her splits past mile 20. And also in training, these aren't paces necessarily that we had touched as well, a lot of.
Because you're racing at this point now, aren't you?
Mile 20, 7:25, 21, 7:14, 22, 7:24, 23, 7:25, 24, 7:25, mile 25, 7:20, mile 26, 7:36. But the only reason why that one I think was a bit slower because you twist and turn through the town at that point. And finish on a sprint finish of 7:08. Like, who does that in a marathon? Like, come on.
I don't even know. I also resonate kind of that when you said that last 5k was really hard, Amy. That last 5k was really hard, and I actually was talking about it at work just like now with kind of like marathons and saying, I remember passing Katie and James and other friends at like 4k to go. I was like, it's only 4k to go, like you're running strong, like keep going. But it was hard. And like seeing them obviously gave a boost. And then someone with 1K to go said, "You've got this far, like don't lose it now." And it was just like words that resonated at that time to be like, I've got myself in this position, just keep running hard. And that's that like race stuff. But like it is hard at the end. It's going to be hard.
I think it's hard regardless whether you're running really well or your race has gone to pot.
Wrong.
Like, I think the last 5K of a marathon isn't easy anyway.
Achieve and get it done. The pain will be over.
That's part of the mental prep in the final weeks as well, is start visualizing the race and be aware that in the last 10K, 5K, it will be hard, but because you've paced it right, you're going to be in control of that hard and you're going to have to lean into it and smile, which makes the hard less hard. Cool. Tim, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, so I don't want to tread all over the last point, but I think there's two types of hard the last 5K can be, and you're setting yourself up, A, now in training, and B, your execution for which one it's going to be. It's going to be pushing through to get the time you want, or it's going to be really, really bonked because you went out way too hard. And my main advice would be, don't let anyone else who's going out hard around you drag you along. Like, run your race and trust that your training will carry you through, because I've definitely done it where I've gone out way too hard and you really will pay for it. Whereas you can, as James and Katie said, you can keep building it. And I definitely prefer racing that way. And running a strong last 10K, it's not going to feel necessarily good at the time, but you'll feel really proud of it later.
Cool.
Thank you. Such good
Help
advice.
you out, Amy?
Yeah, so much. Thank you.
One last thing worth touching on, Tim said there about getting carried away, getting pulled along. Another sort of common mistake we see in athletes is starting too fast and then thinking, oh, well, I might as well go with it. It's never too late to put it back and be in control. So just be aware of that. Don't let your ego sort of take over.
Yeah, especially like in marathons, because it can be so common, isn't it? Like you'll go past your friends and family and you'll get this huge adrenaline boost and you'll go back and you'll see that mile was maybe a bit faster. And like for me, normally at London, like 13 is like one of the fastest, because you've just come off of like, you're coming off Tower, like the high of Tower Bridge, and then normally is like where you see a lot of like the Running Hub cheer squad or like friends and family at that point. And then it's just about making sure that you can still, even if that mile is faster, it's just like calming yourself down, readjusting, like, because 1 kilometer or 1 5K split doesn't mean that, yeah, you have to carry on with it in that respect. So no.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything else to throw into the mix for marathons? I'm sure we'll come across marathons several times in this hour, but
I haven't got anything specific advice-wise for marathon, but I feel like I had to call out Amy, because Amy, I watch like your Instagram literally religiously,
Oh, thank you.
I just feel like you honestly like training like a machine, and yeah, I'm really excited for you. It's so like, honestly, it's so impressive. I look at your Instagram, I'm like, this woman is unreal. She doesn't stop. So yeah, I'm really excited for you and good luck.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
Amy, I echo that. Like, you've put in the work, so you deserve this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Amy did suggest a couple of topics, so we'll come back to those if we've got time. But Susan next had a question. Susan, yeah, Susan's here. I love it when Susan at work. Oh, you're not at work. It's just
you are on mute, however.
yeah, you're on mute.
Oh.
You're not at work.
No, I'm strength training.
Oh, well done. Love that.
That's that working sort.
Yeah, you're working in some respect. So recently James posted about a Tracksmith mile, and Susan said she liked the sound of it, which is great, being brave and putting yourself out there. And so Susan was asking about trainers. Now, obviously, with track work, a lot of people think about spikes, and Susan's asked, can I just wear my normal trainers that I wear on the road? And is the event kind of all ability? So James, you did the race maybe 2 years ago. Was it
4 years ago, maybe?
Oh, didn't feel like it was that long ago, but
Yeah.
go on then.
Yeah, so Tracksmith is a really good series of races, actually. So, like, absolutely, it is available to all abilities. And actually, if we're talking about track in general, I would probably encourage a lot of people here to do some. I think as road runners, we get comfortable on the road. and we think the track is daunting or a place where we shouldn't be, but we absolutely should. But the same as road racing, just put yourself in the right race, i.e. don't turn up on an elite field, and it will be different. But you know, that goes without saying. The Tracksmith one, as we say though, and actually most open track meets are actually race time graded, so you would never be put into a race where you would feel silly. So if we use the Tracksmith mile, if you put I'm going to run 6:30, you are going to be in a race with 20 other people who want to run 6:30. Yes, of course, there might be somebody who runs 6:20, there might be somebody who runs 6:40, but everyone in that race has said they will run 6:30. The Tracksmith series, they've also got a 5K series, which myself and Stuart have signed up for. And they have made a big point of saying, unless you're in the elite races, they will have a relaxed shoe rule. Basically meaning you can wear whatever shoe you want. And that's good. But I think what's worth remembering is we always think about the different rules and stuff on the track, but there are multiple rules on the road that we probably break at every single race because they're not actually implemented, but the elites will be policed by them. So I think just because it's different, we overthink it, but actually as soon as you get there, when you're on the start line, whether you're racing a child or an adult or a penguin, it's just a person next to you exactly the same as it is on the road. Stuart?
And what's the purpose of the spike? What do they do?
So spikes are lighter and they are faster because essentially they've got more grip. So if you were in a race environment, which essentially you'd be time trialing anyway, so not racing, you'd be able to react to moves quicker.
And sorry, it's a stupid question. Do you just put them on the bottom of your trainers? Well, how do they work? Can
No,
I put
they
them
are
on my Brooks
specific.
Adrenaline?
No, they are specific
No.
types of shoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the shoes would have like little holes.
They have a spike
They
plate
have
on.
the holes in the bottom of them, and then you would kind of screw the spikes into them.
Oh, okay. Because I know when I tried to go to the track near me, like in the winter, he's like, "Oh no, it's too icy. You should have brought your spikes." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, that would have just been for grip purposes.
Yeah.
To be honest, if it's too icy for trainers, I wouldn't be training in spikes anyway.
Yeah, I thought it's not that bad, but yeah.
Yeah, so you'll be perfectly fine to wear whatever shoes you like. Yeah, like James says, they put you all in the same kind of group as people that are targeting similar times to you, and everyone is cheered on whether you're in the first race or the elite race. And so yeah, then those kind of events, they seem really intimidating, but recently I've been to a lot of stuff which James has been doing because he's been doing different types of running at the minute, and I've been like, oh, actually, well, now that I'm here, I feel like at some point I could give this a go, and everyone is super friendly and it is welcoming.
But naturally, you know, it is something different. So you will be nervous. Like when I did my first indoor race a few months back, I couldn't tell you how nervous I was, especially like in the cool room and waiting for the start of the race. But
yeah,
it's only because it's something different. It'll be no different to when you turned up to your first road race, but now that's bread and butter and you do it in your sleep. But you know, over the summer there'll be plenty of track racing, certainly in London. So if you feel like it, have a wander down to your local club and watch an open meet first, and just realise that other than the fact that everyone's running a circle in the middle, this is exactly the same. It's people turning up, it's people warming up, it's people watching, it's people not knowing what's going on. It's everything.
And I love running laps, so I feel like I should like the track.
Yeah. And yeah, I think it can be a bit more intimidating thinking, oh, everyone can see what I'm doing. What if I pace it wrong? Well, you're just as likely to pace it wrong out of sight. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, and also as well, like James and I will be there on the same event, so like I can help walk you through things and what you need to do. And I think that sometimes that's the best thing if you're trying something new, is go with someone else so that you've just got that comfort in knowing that you're with someone else doing it, and or you've got that safety blanket. So yeah, we'll take you through the first one, and then once you've done that, you'll be like, oh, this is great, I'd like to do it again.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's okay. Looking forward to it. Fabulous. Right.
Does anybody else sort of not done a track race but seen the idea of, or wants to get involved in that sort of thing but never really known where to go about it? Or no?
You'll probably,
I know
well,
Stuart-
hopefully see me on a track soon.
Yeah, I know Stuart and Tim have got some booked and planned and done.
Cool. Right. Any other questions? Any specifics?
So I'll just say about the track. I, like James said, I've done the track I went along and ran 2.5 minutes slower than anybody else in that 5K because I was against some ridiculously, 14-minute people. I was like 5 minutes behind them, and it couldn't have been more fun though, because everybody was still cheering you as you went. And how many times have you ran that time and not been cheered? So it's still really cool. Granted, when I saw my son, he says, "Daddy, why did you run so slow?" But I told him it was age and talent, or lack of. But like, it could have been better. And that was because I had to make up the numbers for my club. So I knew I couldn't compete. So if you're even going to be able to compete, how cool will it be?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Fab. Any questions following on? So we've had how to pace your marathon, all the way down to what shall I wear on the track. Has anyone got any specifics? Natasha?
Yeah. So yeah, I just was looking for sort of some advice, and I know again it's a bit like fueling, I think, this question, and it is a bit specific to an individual, but it's just something that I just cannot quite get right. And I feel like in terms of like food fueling, I've really worked that out now. And because I found from the race on Sunday, like I didn't hit a wall at any point. Like I felt really good. My stomach felt great, like nothing, no kind of issues there. But the problem I have is I cannot get hydration right. So I either just like overhydrate before the race and then I need to wee like every 5 seconds, or I then like I almost go like too much the other way and then I'm so dehydrated when I finish. And it's just I keep like reading different things. I saw something, I think, on Instagram the other day, someone saying you shouldn't drink for like, if you're doing sort of like half marathon or marathon distance, you shouldn't really be drinking the hour before a race. But I'm like, really? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm just looking for any kind of tips of what people have found has worked for them.
I guess my question to you would be like, at what point, how much have you had before when you felt overhydrated, and how much have you had before when you felt underhydrated?
So, well, if we're going by this Sunday, so I woke up and I probably had like 500 mils of water, and then I had a 500 ml Lucozade Sport, like on my way to the race. So I guess a litre. But yeah, and then I was like, I needed to wee so badly, like literally like 2 miles in. So I know that wasn't right. But then I guess I think I did it because I was like, I know it's going to be sunny. It wasn't actually that hot, to be fair, but I was like worried it was going to feel really hot because it was like you were just completely out in the sun. And actually I ended up racing an hour later than I planned because my trains got messed up. So yeah, but I don't know. I know like some people like, because that was like over like a 3-hour period, right? Some people be like, oh yeah, that's like a really good amount, but it just, I don't know. I just every single race I've done since I've had a baby, I've done 2. But those 2, the 10K and the half marathon, I just have like struggled, like the opposite ends. But like the 10K, I felt really dehydrated. I barely drank anything. But I don't know. I don't know. Like, what is it? Just should I just go for the middle ground, or like, is there a thing that do people generally like not drink the hour before they start a race, or is that not a thing?
Two things probably for me. First of all, this not drinking an hour or so before seems to be getting banned quite a lot at the moment. It is absolute bull. So whoever's spreading this and talking about it, like, absolutely not. Watch the Olympics. You'll see people walk out to the start line with a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Different footballers drinking as they walk. Like, I don't know where this is coming from. I've heard it a few times in the last few weeks, and we live in this dangerous world where people have influence on social media but have full knowledge, and it's dangerous. Anyway, that aside, I think, Natasha, what you're doing here is you're falling foul to your own overthinking. And you are not on your own in this room, I'm sure. Now, every Sunday when you go for your long run, you don't have a problem with hydration, do you?
No, that's a good point.
So
No.
why all of a sudden, 'cause it's race day, are we, oh, I need to drink this, or I need to do this, or do I need...
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that's not a very fantastic answer,
Yeah.
but I think, yes, we do need to think things through, certainly for longer runs or higher intensity activities. But if things are working,
Mm.
then great.
I think it's like for my long runs, I don't know, maybe this is what I need to do, because you know, when I'm going for my long runs that aren't races, I'm stepping out of my front door and running. And obviously when you're going to a race, like, you know, it can be, you know, an hour's travel or 2 hours travel, whatever. So I think in that time I'm probably thinking like, oh gosh, you've got to hydrate while you're traveling, because like, you know, and maybe I don't, maybe I just sort of need to like take it easy, or maybe I just need to practice more for my long runs, like just traveling somewhere to do a long run and then just doing it like that. Yeah.
Just sipping. Both Naomi and Stuart have put their hands up. Naomi, do you want to go first? I thought you were going to put a medical slant on this.
You're on mute still.
Sorry, no medical stance at all, but probably
Can you
more.
pretend it is?
Huh?
Can you pretend it is?
Start giving you the Spanish Inquisition of how much, how little. But I was probably like more down the kind of just your regular routine. So when I'm doing like whether I'm doing a long run or whether I'm doing a race, I literally have the same fluids beforehand. Yeah, you might need like one final wee at the race. And then that's kind of then just consider that you're coming out the Portaloo, that's your front door, you're ready to then race and go. Don't overdrink. A litre I would say is quite a lot beforehand. That was my first thought when you said that. I probably would have just stuck to the, say, like the Lucozade, like with the carbs in it. I think that's a really good idea, because perhaps, yes, on race day you're up a bit earlier, you've had your breakfast a bit earlier, just a little bit of carbs with some hydration, but don't kind of overly do it. And so probably more on the thing of like, don't overthink it. If you feel like you are dehydrated out on course, just kind of just having little sips at the aid stations along the way, but little sips, not glugging it down. But I probably wasn't going to kind of overanalyze in terms of hydration too much. Do you have gels and stuff when you're running? And like maybe kind of having a gel and then just like a little bit of water from an aid station just to wash that down. What distance are you planning for?
Sorry, say that again.
Distance are you planning for?
Just kind of hard 10Ks and half marathons at the moment. I haven't got I've got no desire of 2025 probably, or 2026 to do a marathon, but
No, that's fine. And just like hydration wise, I think you just do as you normally do, and maybe just practice that like next time. Just kind of do your normal routine.
Yeah.
My normal routine kind of before is I have 2 cups of coffee and my breakfast. And then I might, if I'm going to a race, just sip on some like Lucozade Sport. And that's but if I'm going out for a long run, I'll do exactly the same.
Like because that I forgot, you just mentioned coffee, and I do usually have like a shot of an espresso. And someone actually told me the other day, they were like, they've had to stop having coffee before they run because it makes them want to wee like crazy. And there's like a thing of Jake's nodding. There's like a thing that apparently like drinking coffee does make you want to wee a lot more.
It's a diuretic, yes.
Yeah,
so
diuretic,
so it will make you kind of want to wee, like releases the fluid from your body, but also people find kind of it makes them need the loo as well. So kind of caffeine affects people in different ways. Like I'm just like 2 coffees, I can't do any more. Some people can't do coffee at all of a morning, and that's kind of understanding your body sure in terms of that. But if it's like a hydration thing, don't do anything different to kind of what you usually do.
I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Because like if we think about it, if we were all in the afternoon, we're just sitting at our desk and we drank a litre of water, quite soon after that we'd need to go and use the toilet anyway, like we'd need for a wee. So yeah, I'm probably like the same like Naomi, probably just have a coffee and then on the way to a race would take like a 500 ml drink. And I don't think like I've ever probably consumed more than than 500 ml of liquids. Like, because I definitely wouldn't try and put like down a litre before my long run, because I definitely would be needing to stop on my long run. So I think, like James says, it's probably just where you thought, like, we just overthink everything, don't we? Like, right,
Yeah.
race needs to be perfect. I don't want to, like, it's gonna be a warm day. I don't want to dehydrate and things like that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, probably it's probably like have your 500 ml at home and then take another 500 ml, but just sip on it, and you don't need to finish it all. Just
Yeah.
and just like we would say, like, drink to thirst. If you feel thirsty, take a sip. If you don't, then you don't need to.
It sounds like as well you're taking on a lot of information from other people and letting it confuse you.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
going back to what you said at the first, it is going to be slightly different.
Yeah.
Jake's got his hand up, but Stu, did you want to jump in first? You off, Naomi?
Yeah. So not revolutionary. A lot of people have kind of said similar. Like you, Natasha, I am an incredibly nervous wearer. I have the bladder of an 80-year-old man, and it is probably my biggest worry. It's definitely the biggest worry I don't talk to James about before race, but it's my biggest worry.
Yeah,
and
it's mine too.
I really think I've cracked it. So I'm going to tell you what I do, and he has got a little bit of the hour before him there, but wait till the end. So it's like carbing up. You can't do it all in the morning, so it's the day before is the biggest thing. If you drink as much as you can within reason the day before, it is impossible to be dehydrated the next day. So firstly, that end of the spectrum, I know I've had the day before, I'll have had a litre of Morton 160 times 2, so 500 millilitres. I've drunk water throughout the day. I've drank to thirst. I err on the side of caution and drink a bit more, you know. And then in the morning, when I wake up, I drink to first, basically, which is generally one big swig. You wake up, you have a big swig of water or whatever's near you. I then, like everyone else said, I have 500 millilitres. I have a Morton again, but until recently, I just used to have an electrolyte. And I do stop drinking about an hour before, but all I do before a race is queue up at the toilets, and obviously I do my warm up. But because I'm that nervous, that is what chills me out, man. That is my safe space. I go back to the queue, I go again. But then that hour before, I sip when I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
But because I've gone to the toilet loads and I've had my 500, sometimes I sip a bit more and go, oh God, I've had another half a bottle. Sometimes it's 3 sips.
Yeah.
But you've absolutely nailed your hydration the day before, just like your carbs.
Yeah.
You know you can't be. And it takes, you know, we are not medical marvels. We cannot go against the science of, if I drink loads the day before, if I carb up loads the day before in a responsible way, you're fine. So
Yeah.
then that other end, the fear of waiting, is taken away by just queuing up for the Portaloos. What
Yeah.
else are you going to do before the race anyway? You're going to warm up. I just, you know, it's kind of nice. You're away from everything. And half the time it's raining, so you're in the Portaloo, it's not raining. But yeah, that's what I do. I sip the hour before, so I'm not thirsty, but I've also taken care of the other worry by just my time before the race is in the Portaloo. And it just chills me out completely so that I can just concentrate on running.
At least we know where to find you if we're ever looking for you before race.
How I met a few of the Scottish contingent.
We often lose Stuart at the start of the race. And now I know.
Now
where
you know
it is.
why.
but yeah, like,
What I'm taking from today is that Portaloo's a Stu Zen place.
yeah, they're cool, man. I have a great time. But seriously, drink the day before, so you know you can't wake. If you woke up and never had another drink, you actually would be fine. But obviously, then have your 500 milliliter and then sit the hour before and go to the toilet as many times as you can. That's both ends taken care of.
Well, thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
I'll be saying, Stuart, good advice.
I'm recording.
Jake, after you, buddy.
Evening, everyone. Yeah, just on the back of what Stu's saying, preloading hydration and everything is really good. And I know if sometimes at work I don't drink anything, especially with your urine colour, you just know exactly what your hydration is like. And one thing that I would say is that everyone is individual. Just don't forget that. You need just to find out what you need to do. And it's like my first triathlon the other week. I kind of read a few different articles from supported things, and decided to take electrolyte sachet the night before. Worked for me hydration wise. So I'll probably do that again. But yeah, just find out what kind of works for you. And also from kind of a testing point of view, if you want to go kind of the professional side, you can get like hydration kind of sweat test done to find out how much kind of salts you need to be taking on if you're doing marathons and stuff or longer things personally. So you know exactly kind of how much your body requires from kind of a baseline point of view. So if you want to kind of do that, that'd be something. And I know quite a few different scientific papers because obviously you're losing sweat every day. But yeah, so maybe that might be something to look in for. No specific things to kind of punt or anything, but yeah, that's just one idea if you look at trying to think about hydration. So
Cool.
All sound advice. Great. Anybody else got anything to add to the hydration topic? Oh, next topic is down.
Oh, haven't got anything else that's been pre-submitted. So has anyone got any? That was a great topic to bring up. Thank you, Natasha. Anyone got any other questions or things they'd like to discuss? If not, I can go back to my forms. So Amy did ask basically all questions about marathons, which was taper, carb loading, planning for post race. Should we discuss that? Who's ever felt the post race blues?
Don't speak to Stuart yet.
Yeah, post race blues, they hit hard, don't they? Susan's agreeing. And yeah, so let's talk about planning for post race, especially for marathons. Amy, if you can share, have you got anything in mind for afterwards, or are you are you stuck?
Yeah, I haven't really got any big plans for after. It's such a big build, isn't it, for a marathon? And you're like so hyper focused on this one day for so many months. Like, it's all I can think about. And just a bit, it already feels sad. Like when I finished my final really, really long run last week, I felt a bit like, oh, like normally I save certain podcasts and stuff for my long run. And now there's like, you don't have that to look forward to. It's weird.
I think it's really important to realize there's two things here, and they've both got to work together. And there's obviously the physical and the mental aspect of it. Because, like as you say, you're right. You are super focused. You like eat, sleep, drink, breathe. In this case, marathon, and everything. Your world's turned upside down. But it's very easy to try and throw yourself back in to fill that void. But if you don't do that sensibly, you will physically break down again afterwards, and you will be in a worse place, both physically and mentally. So it's about being able to tick both those boxes, isn't it?
Yeah, I think as well, from a like once the race is done, that's not it over. Like I think there's lots of things in the first few weeks that you can be doing after the race. Like firstly is like keep celebrating not only the race itself, but the block that you've achieved, and also take some time in reflecting and looking back, because like people feel like once it's done, that's it, it's over. Like I know that sometimes everyone as runners joke that like all we do is talk about our race, and that's like our whole personality, and that's all we talk about. But there will be people on the internet that do care and that still want to hear about it. So I think that firstly, like you just need to keep reveling in what you've done and what you've worked towards, and like don't let it pass too quickly. It's the same like with, you know, like getting married. Like once the day's over, you're like, oh, this is it. But actually, you know, with a wedding, you look back at the photos and you share stories of the day and you keep reliving it. So I think that's one thing that you should do with your race, is keep talking about it.
Live in the moment.
Yeah, and celebrate that, because it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, great, I got a PB or I hit my target, and what's next? No, actually, like, or like whether it was just completing the race or you did it and it's the strongest you've ever felt, like you've just done that. So don't let that achievement go past too quickly. But then obviously the second piece is actually just, you don't necessarily need to plan for what's next. I think sometimes once you've finished a race, that can help dictate and determine what you would like to do next. I think getting the first 4 weeks after your big race is like, maybe with like a half marathon, it's a couple of weeks, but getting the first like month after a marathon is really important. So like for most people, we would advise people taking like a whole week off of training, both mentally and physically. Like the first few days, you're probably feeling a bit stiff or a bit sore, or you still like probably adrenaline's there, so you might not have slept well. Like you need to recover, and you might be feeling good by the following weekend. But also we want to encourage people, like if you've got families, like spend time, have breakfast in bed or have a lay-in. You don't need to get up for a Sunday long run or a brutal interval session at the weekend. So, you know, we do try and encourage people to take a week or so off training. And then the following week, you might then introduce some nice, easy runs and probably not at the same volume that what you're used to. Then by week 3, you might be building the volume up a little bit more. And then by week 4, you might be then introducing some speed. And then you can start thinking, okay, well, what would I want to focus on next? Do I want to focus on, you know, like over the summer, it's good to do shorter distances. We encourage people just because of time and the weather.
And the race is available.
And the race is available. So you might do that. But also as well, some people might already have other races booked in and they're like, right, well, I'm going to do a triathlon next, or I've already got another half marathon booked in, so that's what I'm doing. Or I just actually then want to get strong again, so I'm going to do more strength training. But I think only you can determine what that is, because you personally need to be excited by the challenge that you've set yourself. There's no point me saying, oh, Amy, I think you should do a 10K, because after the half marathon, you're like, well, that doesn't really excite me. There's no point in training for it, because that's not going to get you out the front door. Like, you know, you've worked so hard because you've wanted to target this marathon that it's got you out the front door every day. But I sometimes think that yeah, you've got to do something you want to do. It might be doing something a bit different. I think training for a different thing is good because it just gives you a different headspace. It just challenges you in a different way. And then if you want to go back to the marathon, you'll then be excited to do it. If you keep going through marathon like cycles, it then can come a bit rinse and repeat. Whereas doing something, even if it's for a short while, will just help with that. Has anyone got any advice, like personally, what they found post race has helped them?
Amy?
So yeah, a couple of things. I think I've like fallen foul of before is perhaps not like celebrating the achievement enough and just moving on to the next thing. So I think that's kind of just repeating what Katie said, but kind of live in the moment, share it, like enjoy it. But in that, remember the process and kind of everything you've achieved. So no matter how race day goes, celebrate kind of that whole process and what you've put your hand to, because like Amy's 16 weeks of training plus everything else that you've done is like no mean feat at all. So it's kind of just remembering that and kind of living that through what you fear might turn into kind of the post-race blues. Is it your first marathon, Amy?
No, it's my second.
The second. I was going to say, it already sounds like you're going to do another.
Probably.
I'm very excitable about like the process of training for it as well.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think kind of just like, yeah, live in the moment, enjoy it, reflect on the process and kind of everything that you've achieved. But I personally find like already like I'm excited about London and doing London, but I've got different goals kind of for the latter part of the year, and I'm already excited about those. So kind of that change of stimulus for me, and like turning my head to triathlon and kind of different training and not going around the marathon cycle too quickly for me personally really excites me, and then stops those post-race blues. But also, I'm not sure if I've mentioned I did an Ironman, but
You haven't, have you?
I think even by kind of being excited with the London Marathon and doing the training, I've still had kind of that like kind of post race like blues kind of living on like after that kind of, because it's big goals, so you can be excited but still have blues there, but it's just acknowledging them and kind of knowing what you're doing, so it's normal.
Yeah.
Tim?
I've been quite lucky. I don't really experience the post blues as in I missed the event or the build up to the event, but I have suffered quite a bit from missing out on what I had set myself a goal in my head and I didn't want to let go of. And I'm probably not the best person to give advice on this, to be perfectly honest. Katie and James can attest to that. I just wanted to sort of do a bit of a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. And, like, try not to get too caught up on the like a goal that's exactly time based to the second, because you never know what's going to happen on race day. But like, you can still execute a really, really good race, and you can be really proud of the last 16 weeks or so of effort you put in, because nothing that happens on race day can take away what you've done. And I really wish, so back in October, I completely beat myself up over 40 seconds, and it's kind of stupid, really. But like, I mean, you can't control emotions, but you know, you got to be really, really proud of anything you do. A marathon's so massive. Well, I think because we're in these communities, you can sometimes become a bit blasé of, oh, everyone does a marathon. No, we're still part of the 1% club or whatever. Like, like what you're doing is amazing.
Amongst a group that have normalised marathons, what a load of weirdos.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that there's still people that will say to me, when I say I'm doing a marathon, and they say, oh, you mean the marathon, London? And I'm like, no, I'm doing Manchester. And they say, how far is that one? And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe people like you still exist. Because you immerse yourself, especially with social media. Like, we're just surrounded by people who are training for marathons, and you think it's normal, and it's not.
Yeah, I had that once when I was training for my first London. I was just like with a group of people, and they were like, how far's the Paris Marathon? I was like, same distance. I mean, I wish there was marathons that were shorter. I'd sign up for those.
Yeah.
Neil, do you mind sharing your experience? Because obviously last year you did like 2 marathon blocks, and then Neil was going to sign up for a marathon, but then when he went to sign up for Manchester, it was fully booked. So
Praise the Lord.
it changed.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I've been looking to try and see how I put my hand up, and I can't work it out. Hence why I've sat here quiet. But yeah, it's worked for me. It's worked really well. Obviously, you know, when I first found out that I'd missed Manchester, I was a little bit peeved about it. I'd got my mind set on getting straight back into a marathon block. But I've really enjoyed the training that I've been doing with the 10K. It's been nice being able to do more races. I feel that my running's improved a lot because of those little 1% that you sort of you go out and you see a photo from a race and you think, well, you know what, actually, yeah, I'm pulling my shoulders back. Or Alfie and the wife came back saying, you don't half look at your watch a lot. So again, making those changes, and I've found that, you know, over this few weeks, my running has just changed, and the enjoyment in it has changed so much. Because I did with looking at my watch and things like that, I used to get stressed if I wasn't running at the pace I wanted to be, or whatever it may be. So yeah, it's made a massive difference to me coming away from the marathons, and I'm now still excited for Valencia. I'm really looking forward to getting into the marathon block, but I'm also looking forward to, you know, the Birmingham half marathon in 4 weeks, you know, and what I might be able to achieve there. But again, it's then on to the next race, because you've got another half marathon 4 weeks after. And I've found that has been brilliant, rather than just doing long run after long run.
As you say, it's exciting to go into a block from a different angle, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I have been challenging and pushing Neil quite a lot, which she'll say to that, like, you know, but because the long runs at the weekend haven't been as long, it's probably meant you've got some more time with the family at the weekend, which is nice. your long run pace is the same effort, the same heart rate, but it's quicker. And then you've been able to push yourself more in the sessions during the week and recorded some great times. And then also along the way already 5k PB, a 10k, 2 10k PBs,
Yeah.
and then hopefully, you know, building onto a half. But Neil sent me a funny message the other day. The running channel had like rated the park run, some of the fastest park runs out there, and the one that he did for his fast 5k, Neil thought that was a bad thing, that he just picked one that was super fast and that's why he got his time. And I was like, no, it's good, you picked the fastest course to give yourself the best possible opportunity. Nowadays with park runs, a lot of them are like 3 laps and gets congested. So yeah, if I've ever got a fast one on my plan, I try and pick the closest but best one that's
That
gonna
park run is where I used to smoke when I was at school as well. So,
Yeah, we spoke about that before, didn't we?
it's good to know it's improved its athletic output from those days.
But yeah, Neil said we'll have to do a meetup at that one at some point because it is a fast one to do. So yeah.
Well, that's it. Alfie's finished his football now for this season, so Saturdays are back available for me now.
Oh, that's good to know for your plan.
Park
Oh
on.
yes.
Has anyone got anything else to add in, like about post race or?
Go on, Stu.
Just embrace it. It's the two things that have always depressed me is coming back from Glastonbury and finishing a race. But that's why we do it without being too philosophical. I'm not going to lie, I signed up to Berlin Half, a charity place, for next year already today. But
I'll pop that in your plan then.
yeah, I'll put it on the final surge. But yeah, you've got to rely on, like, I don't want to make him blush, but rely on James. I've texted him so much in the past few days because I'm like, what about this? What about that? And he knows why I'm doing it. And this community, just leaning on each other, because it's going to be, you're going to be blue, aren't you? But that's why we pay for this and don't do runner or any of that nonsense, because we've got each other, which really helps.
Yeah, team.
I think as
Yeah,
well,
maybe-
just like sorry, Katie. I think it's also like really, I found after doing London, it was really helpful to have like not too much, because obviously you're going to be chatted. But for like the day after, or even like the day after that, just I made sure I just booked in one nice thing. I had like one nice little thing to look forward to. I think I just got like a facial or something at like a really nice spa close to where I live, because I think you've put yourself through so much training, and it's been so sort of time consuming for weeks and weeks and weeks. But just to have something, it doesn't have to be a whole day thing, but just an hour of something nice to do for yourself, a couple of or within a week of the race or something, I think massively helps with the kind of the blues of the race. And I think especially for women, a bit of pampering is, there's no harm in a bit of pampering after you've just put your body through.
Not
one
exclusive to
marathon.
women though, Natasha. Eh?
It's
So
not exclusive.
do a little
No,
trim on
no.
myself
I
on a
didn't
bit
say
of
it's
pampering.
exclusive to, but women are, I'd say probably, more keen on things like facials and getting
You've
our
not
nails
met her, have
done.
you?
Not at all. Not at all. I've had 3 bubble baths since I've come back. I've never gone.
The worrying thing is he's texting me whereas I'm those bubble baths.
yeah, I've booked some races in a bubble bath. It's a great idea, Natasha. That though, you've got to treat yourself after it. Like I write a food list of what I'm going to eat the week after.
I think I did that as well, actually. That is definitely, yeah, I was like, I'm booking my favourite place where, just like the greasy food that you just don't want to be eating before, when you're in the thick of training. Definitely.
Yeah, no, write a food. I did it in COVID as well, before everywhere reopened. Write a food list would be my top tip.
I've already done that, not gonna lie. Naomi and I've got a plan.
Yeah, and I think as well, with what Natasha said there about rewarding yourself and doing fun stuff, is also, again, touching on what Stuart said about the community. Look at the races and events we've got coming up, which can be more aimed at fun but you can still be a bit competitive in it. So we've got the Milton Keynes marathon events, we've got the Northampton 5K and 10K, where you can turn up, be part of the team, race if you want, jog if you want, go backwards, it doesn't matter, but you can just still race, still be involved, and just enjoy something for slightly different, but still be involved in what you love.
I was just going to say hide your credit card from after what Stuart said, otherwise you'll just be booking other races. If you don't want to sign up to anything else, that is. That's what I normally find. But no, hopefully that helps. I think that's it. It's a nice, like, you know, we've had some nice kind of answers there, in the sense that, yeah, you've got to, you know, just have fun with it in some respects afterwards and treat yourself, but then also on the serious side of things is just like make sure you recover properly. And yeah, but I think the best thing to do is just try something different. I mean, sometimes as runners we're always dictated by what we've already got in the diary, but sometimes as well it's probably good to think about like what are your longer term goals and plan backwards, and put like another big goal in the diary, but maybe for a bit of a further away, and then kind of then you can put something short term. So Alicia suggested a High Rocks, you know, that's an alternative, and Jake's put, I didn't know you did one of those. At first when I popped up I thought that was a little delayed message to Naomi when she said she did an Ironman. I was like, well, that took a long while for the internet to come through.
I kind of think on a serious note as well, when we're talking about reflecting on your race and the blues, I'm sure other people have heard this story, but when I did New York Marathon years ago, I was really pissed off with my performance and my time, which meant I never got to enjoy it. And now it's multiple years on, I regret that. So just make sure, similar to what Tim was saying, I suppose, a little bit, like, yes, you can be disappointed and you can not hit your goal, but do enjoy it, do celebrate your accomplishment, not just from the day, but the last 3-4 months or whatever it may be.
Yeah, we've all like, and going back to like what Tim said, and we've all been there, we've all like maybe like not achieved what we set out to do and been annoyed about it, but actually everyone else has been like, well, that was amazing, like you did really well. And it's normal to feel like that at the time, but you kind of need to make sure that you don't kind of hang on to that too much, and do just celebrate.
And to make you laugh, that race I was pissed off with is still my marathon PB.
Yeah, perspective is everything, isn't it? Because I'd rather be 40 seconds away than be carrying this around. You know, so.
Oh, you had to make it real, didn't you, Tim? we all feel no bad for moaning about the things we missed out. But
yeah, we've got to finish on a high now. It's like end of the session.
Tim's photos
we
of
managed
him
to
in
keep Hayley
photos,
Stawson and Alicia quiet for an hour.
You wait till Paphos, you're going to regret that.
I was cooking, then eating dinner.
Nice. What have you got?
Stir fry.
Lovely. Very good. Yeah, we had a thing back in the day with core class. In the last set, we'd always talk about, because we'd all be hungry, we'd all talk about dinner and what we were planning on having.
I cut my finger in the process.
Oh no. We have a nurse on hand if you need any support.
I feel like you're a bit far. Pasta will do.
She's basically putting the middle finger up to you there, Katie. So I don't know. I don't think.
Don't worry.
She's probably had worse from me, to be fair.
Oh, well, I've really enjoyed tonight. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your questions and your contributions. It's been really, really good. So yeah, I think we'll do another one. We'll put a date in the diary.
You can all thank Stuart for this one.
Yeah, Stuart gave us the idea.
Good luck to everybody doing whichever marathon. I'm so jealous. Enjoy it.
Thanks, Stu, and thanks everyone else. And
I think we've got dates to see most of you in person over the next few weeks. So
yeah,
see you all soon.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Good luck, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.